Oh, no, it's okay. I got lots of heads. This one is convenient because it's super light and just can go over my other headphones. Practice my mic is open.
See if, yep, I got to be close enough with Specialized Voice on. So hello, Francis. Hello, Thomas. See you guys are on Facebook. Welcome. Welcome back, Francis, I should say, since you're always with us. Got about 21 people in the room right now. We will get started in approximately 12 minutes.
Hello, Laurent.
Hey, salut Margot, j'étais off.
Salut, oui, c'est ce que je me suis dit.
I'm just going to stand over here and keep talking to the Facebook Live folks because otherwise, while we have Specialized Voice, we have a lot of people coming in the room already this time around, so there are a significant number of pounders. We had actually turned Specialized Voice on a little bit earlier than we usually do. But anyway, welcome. There's about 5 people watching now. VRAR.
Comment?
J'ai vu Sébastien aussi. Hey, salut Sébastien.
Ah oui, bonjour Sébastien.
T'es loin.
I will do my best to mute my microphone whenever I am typing, because I know it's a problem in Virbela.
Hello.
Yes.
Ouais, c'est surtout Laurent. Tard, très tard. Ouais,
Oh,
ouais.
I see Carlos is also doing the dual duty here and joining us both in Virbela and on Facebook.
Après 2h du matin, il n'y a plus de networking possible.
Hey, looking pretty good so far.
Oui,
Yep, I'm standing here because if I stand here with Specialized Voice on, the Facebook audience can hear us. So we got Thomas Wynn in Facebook, we got Francis Wong in Facebook, and Carlos Ochoa is doing double duty and being in the room and on Facebook at the same time.
Good. Glad you all could join us tonight.
Yes. Yeah, it's super nice. I mean, can't wait for the event to start again for real.
Yeah, we are looking forward to in-person events coming soon too. But
yeah, it's gonna come soon, I guess.
Yeah, glad this works until then, though.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean it's awesome. What a great solution for this time.
Yeah.
Right. Gonna go take a seat before it all starts.
Yeah, the desks will show up a little bit more.
We will be putting seats down, FYI.
Oh, okay.
À plus tard. Yeah, there will be seats when the session will start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we leave it open at the start so that people can walk around and talk to each other. I'm noticing the spatialized voice here is a lot more spatialized than it was last time I was in this room. See, who do we got in the room? We got Karen Alexander from XR Connected. She's here. Who else do I see? Ben Grieve is a regular that likes to come around. We got Cam Delescu, who I believe is Cam from Virbela, which would be great. Sidearm is here, I can see.
Hey, Matt, I might turn on private spaces right now because it's already getting a little tough to hear out here.
It's only tough by you, Chris. I'm noticing as like the people who are clustered, but I can't hear anything across the room right now.
Okay.
And again, we got about 9 minutes, 8 minutes until we get started, so we'll be okay.
All right. Maybe I'll just tell everyone if they spread out a little.
Yep. Absolutely, Francis. Agreed. It's great to see people with enthusiasm.
Right.
Well,
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I'm excited to check this out.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. This is Chris at the stage. I'm going to turn on private volume, so there's going to be little blue circles around. I just muted everyone so that you can all talk. I know it's hard to hear out there right now, so I'm turning them on right now.
There they are.
Someone, no one's going into the auditorium at the moment, so all good there.
So with the spatialized voice, I cannot talk to Facebook and be standing in Facebook's camera shot at the same time. That's unfortunately a little bit of a downside to that. But we've got about 6 minutes till we get going. Well, let's see, Francis. Thomas is in Chicago, because I know who Thomas is, and Carlos is actually in Spain. Is there a way to join these meetups using an Oculus Go? Jorge, I'm not sure. I saw your question. I don't know if you can actually join using an Oculus Go or not. I know you can join using a Quest if you're tethered to a computer, and I know you can join using a Rift. I have not tried to do it using a Go. I'm not sure what the capabilities of the Go are, but that's something that we can check in with with Virbela, because that's a new one. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. The problem with Chris doing the private volume thing is now we have to turn it off to make the announcement to tell everyone to come to the stage. Oh well. Yeah, you'll have to turn off private volumes to make the announcement when it's time to get people to the stage, right?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Hey, Chris, you know where the safe zone is to speak and not be hidden behind picture-in-picture, right?
It's pretty big now, so it's a little bit bigger this time around. So
I'm not sure what that means. So no, I do not know what you're talking about though.
Stand at the center of the stage, basically. Don't drift towards the stage right, otherwise you might be invisible.
Okay, so I'll just go let all the panelists know center or stage left is.
Just try to stand center, because if you go too far left, you're out of the shot too. So if you stand center when you're presenting, you're in good shape. And if people like when we do the Q&A and line people up, I will private chat them if they're out of the camera shot.
Okay, I often tell people during rehearsal they could like walk. So, but I'll just tell them to.
Yeah, they can walk anywhere around. If they're walking, but they're relatively at the center stage area, they're in pretty good shape.
Okay, cool, sweet.
-3 minutes.
Yep. If some people aren't here yet, how do you want to handle that? Should we just go ahead with it?
Yes.
Got it. All right.
Kind of fun. We've got everybody listening in on our conversation on the Facebook.
Right.
I got Jorge, who is Jorge's trying to figure out how to connect on an Oculus Go, which is pretty cool because I actually don't know if you could do that. And then we got Sarah,
especially with everyone
apparently from St. Louis.
Yeah, to be.
Welcome, Sarah.
Well, hello to Sarah.
Kind of like you feel like.
And Francis Wong, as always, is here. We love Francis.
Okay, so I'm going to show you our team suite. So if you go to the blue menu on the left-hand side, up at, and it says Go To. If you go.
Guess who that was? All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody on Facebook. I will be monitoring the Facebook throughout the event. So if you guys have questions during the Q&A, please let me know, and I'll try to get them read into the room. Other than that, thank you. Welcome. Please, as you come in, say hello, announce yourself. It'd be great to have you. It's great to have you all. And I'm going to go get ready for the show whenever you're ready, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. So you want me to start right at 6:15?
Yeah. Well, I would call the people to the stage first, but yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Menu somewhere. If you click on your own name on the left. Hey,
everyone. We're going to get started soon. So if I could have all of the speakers for tonight, the presenters, come up towards the stage and take a seat. I muted the audience right now and I turned off those private volumes. I should also say now, welcome to our Facebook crowd, everyone that's joining through Facebook. I'm going to turn on seating in Virbela right now in this room so that everyone can go ahead and take a seat. And there it is, if you would like to. And we'll get started shortly. Thanks, everyone. Do you generally leave the audience muted, or do you unmute them and let them or you know what I'm saying?
I mean, for now, at this point, I would just get started. So make sure all the presenters know to come to the stage, and we're not in spatial volume anymore, so everyone's hearing us. So yeah, just get it going.
Great. All right, everyone. So the first thing you will most likely notice is that I am up here talking and not Matt. So this is the first time I'm hosting this event like this. Since Baudelaire is going to be presenting here, we thought that I, as the Executive Director of VRAR Chicago, would sort of give the intros here today. not let Matt have so much time on the stage and his people. Let me check and see, do we have all of our presenters up here? The only one I think we're missing is Lewis. Lewis, are you out there? Come on up and take a seat. Hey, there we go. All right, so everyone, I want to say hello, first of all. If this is your first time to one of these events, welcome. And if you've been to other ones, we're so glad to have you back. Again, we want to include Facebook, everyone joining by Facebook. So everyone in Facebook, obviously this event is really about us getting the most out of it that we can. So please feel free to use those comments on in Facebook, especially when we get to the question and answer portion of the day, so that we can have you interacting with everyone here just as much as the people that have joined our conference hall space here. Since this, can be a little new to some people, we're going to just check with using some of the tools here in Virbela. So if you have been here before, we're going to practice using the raise hand tool, since we'll be using that for the question and answer portion of the event. So at the bottom of your screen, everyone who's been in Virbela before, can you raise your hand? And it looks like, yeah, we got a good number out there. I would say probably 15 to 20. And you can go ahead and lower your hands. And just to make sure that everyone else knows what they're doing, if you haven't been to one of these events in Virbela before, go ahead and raise your hand. And not quite as many, but definitely some out there. Perfect. And you can go ahead and put your hands down if you'd like to. I just want to explain some other tools in this space really quickly to you. If you look at the top of your screen, you will see a screen zoom button at the top of your screen. And if you click on that, it'll allow you to zoom in on any one of the three screens if you're trying to see that content a little more clearly. Also, you can tell I've muted everyone so that the people up here can talk. But when we do get to the question and answer part, just make sure at the lower left there, you'll see where you can mute and unmute. I think most of us have been in here talking already, so we're pretty used to that. But when you do ask a question, obviously you'll want to unmute before you do that. Again, welcome. We've been doing this event now for about 4 years. And our focus in this event is really all of you, right? It's the audience. And you taking your next steps with sort of immersive and emerging technologies. So that's why we like to start with that little networking portion where everyone can sort of talk and get to know each other. Our presenters are going to have a very short time to speak, right? They're going to give about 10 minutes each, give you some idea of their background, their areas of expertise and stuff like that. But really, we're just using that to facilitate the Q&A and the networking after the event so that you can ask questions about, whatever it's going to really take for you to sort of take your next steps towards learning about and implementing these technologies. We really want you to be able to connect with each other, with speakers, obviously with VRAR Chicago. And to that end, obviously, you can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can see all those things on the center screen right now if you're sort of looking for those handles. And just remember, it is all about you. And at this time, I want to bring up some of our sponsors for this event. First of all, we are going to bring up Bundle AR, and we have Lauren Lemieux here, who's the head of marketing, to tell us a little bit about Bundle AR.
Oh, thank you. Let me see if I can turn around here. It's always a game to try to move your head and your body at the same time in here. Hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Lauren, and I am from Bundler. We are an augmented reality company out of Chicago that has developed a no-code platform, making it easy for anyone to create, edit, publish, and access their very own AR experiences. We are very excited to be here again this week. And as always, the VRAR Chicago team has organized an outstanding panel. We've been especially looking forward to tonight because immersive technology, specifically augmented reality, is really transforming from a toy to a tool. And we're seeing our clients successfully implement it for countless training and learning needs. We have a quick video that shows you a little bit about what we do. So if Matt, could you please hit?
I will do that, and I'll warn everybody that this is Virbela. It does tend to get loud. We have no control over the volume, so just be aware. Hopefully it won't blow your ears out.
Until now, creating augmented reality was hard. IT departments simply do not have the expertise, so they rely on expensive developers and one-off solutions. Introducing Bundle AR's augmented reality platform. Bundle AR's revolutionary, self-serve augmented reality content management system allows anyone, anywhere, to easily create, edit, and deploy augmented reality to Apple and Google devices instantly and on a global scale. Now is the time to add on-demand, accurate, and trusted digital information to your communications through a tool nearly everybody already has, their smartphone. Perfect for just-in-time immersive training, learning, and development programs. Easily place multimedia content like videos or interactive 3D models on real-world items like signage, brochures, or packaging to enhance your audience's understanding of your product, procedures, or story. No special equipment or coding skills necessary. It's augmented reality made easy. Visit bundlear.com now to get started.
You. Lewis will get into it a little bit more Lewis will get into it more in a little bit. But as you can see, the applications are truly endless and really limited by your imagination with all these new tools. If you'd like to learn more about how to create your own AR experiences in a matter of minutes, do not hesitate to. There are a handful of here this evening.
Great. Thank you so much, Lauren. And as a thank you to our next sponsor is 1871. It is Chicago's technology incubator, and they really hold a special place for us at VRAR Chicago because really we were kind of born out of 1871. We hosted all our physical events there. And we were lucky tonight that we have really a special guest from 1871. The CEO is here, and I believe she might come up and actually say a few things for us. Betsy Ziegler.
Hi, everybody. I'm not sure if this is my first time in the platform, so I'll do my best here to come up. Am I doing it right, Matt and Chris?
Yeah, you're doing great.
If you go up to the center of the stage area, you'll be in the camera shot for the Facebook Live audience.
Yep, I feel like the arrow keys are usually the best way to move around.
Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, come on over here. Follow me over to the center, and that way everyone will see you.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to. You know what? I'm afraid I'm wasting people's time because I'm figuring this out. So I'll just talk from here if that's okay. Oh, maybe I got it. There.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
All right. Turn. Hi, everybody. I'm Betsy Ziegler. I'm the CEO of 1871. Pleasure to be here. As you can tell, I'm a newbie in the Virbela platform, but really excited. 1871 exists to inspire, equip, and support all the members that we work with. And those members span from people who have an idea that could become a real business through growth stage businesses all the way through corporate. And we are proud partners and sponsors and supporters of the monthly AR/VR meetup. And I look forward to deepening our relationship with this group and being as helpful as possible. Matt and Chris, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here today. So really excited to have you at one of these events, especially doing it virtually, although we definitely miss doing it physically at 1871. And to that end, since we are in a virtual space here, we should talk about our third sponsor, which is Virbela. And again, since we've been hosting our virtual event series, Virbela has been the place where we've been doing that since July. VRAR Chicago actually also has offices in Virbela, and it's really been great. And we have Campbell Deliscu here, who can say a few words about Virbela.
Thanks, Chris, Matt, Tom. Thanks for putting us together. Really excited to be here. And lots of experience running innovative virtual event experiences and thrilled for the opportunity to partner and sponsor these engagements. As Chris shared, VRAR Chicago also has a suite with us. And I'm Campbell Deliscu, partner and manager at Virbela. If you have any questions, here's my email. You could also drop by my office on the first floor. You all.
Great. We also want to say really quickly, thank you to our partners. They are up on the side screens there. And so tonight's event, right? The next evolution, immersive technology in training. I find often that like the general public, usually with almost any type of emerging technology, it's almost always gaming first that the general public really thinks of. But in reality, almost across all industries, training is adopting immersive technology incredibly rapidly. 30% of the total content of the Training 2021 virtual conference was really about immersive technology solutions. And, you know, that's just exciting, right? Like training, I would say, if you think about it, going back to the earliest days of digital, right? I remember playing flight simulators when I was a kid almost. And really a flight simulator is immersive technology and training, right? It's been such an early adopter of the technology. Research also is proving that training communicated through AR and VR in educational context provides faster comprehension, longer retention, right? Like really, it is just the best way to engage your audiences. And immersive technology-based training also provides a really sort of safe place to fail for companies out there. If you think about it, if you have something like I mentioned with flight simulation, you're talking about very expensive equipment and you're talking about lives. If you talk about surgical training, if you talk about emergency response, there's just so many applications out there where when this training is occurring in immersive spaces, it just it provides the ability not only obviously to save the equipment and save lives, to train on multi-million-dollar equipment, to train in hazardous environments. There's just so many applications out there that it's really kind of incredible. Tonight, we have really one of the best panels that I think we've had. There are 4 panelists on here. They all really sort of have, they're hitting a different area of this focus, which is really kind of cool. And to begin tonight, the first person we're going to bring up is Laurent Didalto of Nimbus. They're really dealing with immersive technologies and new technologies really for vocational type training. Nimbus was created in 2011, and Laurent is the founder and CEO. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Laurent Didalto.
Hello, Christopher. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm talking. Well, that's quite weird for me because I used to talk on Virbela, but well, I really don't. Well, I really prefer to be in Chicago with you, and especially because I am from my home office in France, so it's like nearly 2 in the morning for me, and I would prefer to be with you celebrating this evening in Chicago. So anyway, so I guess I have to ask you to move to the next slide, right? Thanks. So yes, we created Nimbus in France 10 years ago, as mentioned, focusing on how we can bring XR solution to manual skills. I myself have a PhD in VR. Long time ago, at the time of flight simulator solution, just started, and I discovered beginning of the 2000 years, I discovered the interest of bringing that technology into jobs that doesn't look so technical at all, and that was very suffering from bad image. That was manual skills jobs. Next slide, please. So I'm talking about this kind of job, and that's really today a huge demand, and especially with the COVID-19, it's really coming up on stage. We need to attract people on that job. We need to recruit talents, detect talents, and move them to the professional level as fast as possible. Next, please. One information that is key to looking at that figures, if you can see the number on that figures, is the unrealized output in the manufacturing sector due to the labor shortage. We're missing and that's two issue that is not the bridges in a way that we have new generation coming up. that doesn't know anything about that job, that thinks that it's still dirty and dangerous. And on the other side, we have a lack of manpower. And the technology we're bringing today with the XR, the immersive learning, is really the bricks that will build a bridge between that two issues. Next, please. So yeah, I'm focusing on how to attract those kind of people, not only this new generation, but also the unemployed people, how to attract them to a manual skills job, knowing that we are all on cell phone all days, and unfortunately we're not spending time with a welding gun or hammer, but through that we can. And that's our duty at members. We can change their mind and bring the manual competencies, the skills, excellence into that devices. And XR is a solution. Next, please. So I mean, most of you know the different XR experience you can have, but I wanted to focus on building, because building industry construction is one of the key, the most demanding area for manual skills workers. It started with walkthrough, visit in VR, but it moved quickly to reviewing a work site, and it's mostly augmented reality in that case. And through augmented reality today, we can really ensure the quality of the production of the building, of the construction. But that is not really the topic of today, because we're talking about training today. Collaboration is a key also, because now we can bring people to collaborate on something that doesn't exist through VR. And the interesting thing is to analyze what can be the learning, what will be the outcomes of the discussion. That's tricky, because they're moving in VR, so you will track what they're doing, but they also talking. And when they're talking, how can you analyze and understand what is the value in the communication? That's a very interesting topic that is starting to be addressed today. And that gives some part of behavior that are linked to manual skills in a way. It's like combining your body language with your hand skill to improve your capacity to become a professional. And that's really an interesting topic that will be further developed in the forthcoming year. And finally, training, which is the topic of today, and it's really a booming area. A lot of content is produced today in this sector. Next, please. What we decided to create at Membus is a full solution. It's not only XR experience. With XR experience, you're just addressing the first part of the schema, attract. You attract people by creating an experience, and they're practicing on welding, on painting, whatever you want. What I want really to have the full scope, so be able to recruit the talent and train them. And for that, we need the instructor first. We need the instructor to be involved in that process. So that means you need to train the trainer on using properly this technology in his classroom, and you need to provide the teacher with a tool that will be a kind of virtual assistant for him. And that's really the key of the integration of this technology into training. Next, please. So just a video of what the VR workshop we produced today looks like. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, there's no sound on this one. So basically, here I show you a short example of what we have for electricity. So it's practicing. I don't see if you can see the video streaming on your side, because I can't on my side.
We can see it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, okay. So, so basically, the idea is to put the people into a real situation of electrician. So you see, he has to manipulate, as you said, I've seen, he has to manipulate the electric board, the screwdriver, understand the principle, but really manipulation and body position in space is really a key for us, and we are able to control that information all over the time. So, can we move to the next slide in presentation? And so we create that workshop in a box that is a package solution for our customer to be able to practice from anywhere and on any kind of situation. They're just downloading the activities. Next slide, please. And I was talking about the key solution for training. So the job module is just what you see. It's just the software that you put in the workshop in a box. The virtual workshop is hardware, is what I call the workshop in a box. But the interesting thing is what is on the right side. It's Vulkan. We created a cloud platform that is tracking the skills of the people in any kind of VR situation. It can be something produced by members, but it can be produced by any other partner producing VR experience for manual skills. Next, please. And this is really the key for the instructor. It's a dashboard. Basically, it's a dashboard, but it's a kind of intelligent dashboard in a way that it analyzes skills independently, like concentration, precision, even specific skills like manual skills for welder, safety for woodworkers, precise hands position, and so on. So it gives a detailed information on that skills and how the skills individually progress over the time. And the instructor, on the other side, can create curriculum, create exercises, and apply those different passes to each student. So it's turn the instruction into an individual follow-up driven by the VR assistant, which is Vulkan here, and overlooked by the trainer. And you see here that the trainer is a different trainer that the trainer we're talking today. It's more a pedagogist than a usual trainer, I would say. Next slide. And that's the final one. Oh, I think I'm just in time, if I'm right. Yeah, but that's all. And I will be very happy to answer to your question during the network session after the presentation. There's Margot also on the ground with us today. She's in charge of our Chicago office. She will be pleased to answer to any of your question also. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Laurent, for the presentation.
Great, thank you so much. Excellent. So at the end of this, as I mentioned, we're going to have time for everyone for all of our presenters to come up, and everyone in the audience can ask questions. And Facebook, again, you'll be able to comment in the comment bar there, send your questions over also. But before that, our next speaker is from Bundle AR, and it is a software engineer at Bundle AR. His name is Louis Gardner, and I will let him, again, you heard a little bit about them already from Lauren at the beginning, but I'm sure Louis is going to take us a little deeper into their offerings. So, Louis.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Thrilled to be here with you this afternoon, share some of the latest innovations in augmented reality training. So let's jump right into it. First slide, please. And let's go to the second slide. Awesome. All right, so hi there. My name is Louis, and I am a virtual and augmented reality developer from Chicago. As you can see from the photos here, I can usually be found pioneering ways to augment reality. When I'm away from the keyboard, I can be found exploring locations of historical significance across the city and hovering around 1871, creating and collaborating with my colleagues. Let's jump to the next slide, please. All right. So, simply being an augmented and virtual reality developer alone doesn't qualify me to be up here on the coveted VRAR Chicago stage, knowledge sharing with you all. So I'd like to immerse you in a few of my previous projects. 2016, my colleagues and I built a virtual reality trading platform. See a couple of the images here. The one with the charts, the green and red candles there, in the bottom left corner is one of my previous colleagues. There's a video lurking around on the internet of this colleague placing the first ever commodity trade in virtual reality at the Chicago Board of Trade. He was able to generate thousands of dollars just by trading with an Oculus Rift on his face. From there, this was significant because it opened the door to more XR training and trading opportunities, including building a training education platform to connect students and coaches in virtual reality. We also were able to use augmented reality as a platform to train students to trade like the pros on TV and explore financial data in real time. When the Chicago Board of Trade temporarily closed a few years ago, we found ourselves training traders who had traded in the pits their entire lives and had never traded online before. A lot of them were elderly. Again, you can see a photo here of one of my colleagues with his hands raised, trying to convince someone to place a trade. And this is an elderly person that is learning to trade on the internet for the first time. They had been used to trading in the pits their whole lives. Following this project, I focused my time in building a real estate, construction, and site planning augmented reality platform to allow customers to project and analyze geospatial data in their homes and offices. Some of those images can be found in the bottom left corner there. You can see a projection of the entire city of Chicago with data of properties that one of these individuals owns, and that allows people to explore that property. And in the bottom right corner is another visualization of building in 3D. Awesome. Last but not least, I'd like to share more with you about the current AR platform that our tech team is building, Bundle AR. Next slide, please. Before I tell you exactly what Bundle AR does, I'd like to establish the premise of why we're here and what we see a need for in the industry. Right now, AR is transforming from a toy to a tool. And we see three main areas that our clients are improving their training experiences. First is faster onboarding. Augmented reality is providing a robust amount of information in a short amount of time with a reduced learning curve. Second is experiential learning. This is creating experiential content which amplifies the success of ongoing professional education and growth. And finally, contextual information. Contextual information can be projected where and when it is needed most in a format that is easy to digest. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'd like to share one of the more complex examples of augmented reality training that intrigues me. In this photo here, the person, I'd like you to direct your attention to the person with the helmet on. You can see a homemade augmented reality headset made by an engineer at CERN in Switzerland. In the photo at the bottom, that is a 360-degree photo. So allow your mind to wrap around that. What you're seeing in this 360-degree photo is what the engineer would see projected on top of reality. That photo in the top right corner is a blown-up version of the 360 photo, so you can see it a little bit better. Probably see those yellow and red spots there. That is displaying areas of intense radiation to the viewer. Augmented reality can be used for workspace learning and safety. This is not the only way that CERN is using augmented reality. They are also using augmented reality to teach engineers how to use machinery. And that's an area of interest that I'd like to go into a little bit more later on. Next slide, please. Today, as a co-founder of Bundle AR, our team is advancing augmented reality training and empowering companies to build AR easier and to implement immersive training into existing pipelines. Training is one of our core focuses on the platform, and we've had the opportunity to be working on the cutting edge of augmented reality over the past 2 years. What you can see here on the laptop is a photo of our platform that allows you to build augmented reality. Next slide, please. We've had an amazing opportunity over the last 2 years to explore training in augmented reality directly with some of the companies listed here across many industries. Every day, we get a chance to innovate with others directly related to training, learning, and development. Next slide, please. 2 quick use cases that I'd like to bring up here. First was a more recent project with Thermo Fisher. We were able to help Thermo Fisher augment an internal remote training event on sales enablement. I can't share too many of the statistics and data because of the confidentiality with the client, but the event was so well received that it changed behavior of their clients dramatically. And the company is now pushing forward with a larger augmented reality program. Thermo Fisher saw a direct benefit from using augmented reality solutions in training and are moving forwards with even more engagements at Bundle AR. Second example is one of our clients, SLU Madrid. SLU Madrid has returned to augment their view books for a 3rd year in a row because they found so much success. They were able to use augmented reality to help reduce friction to students signing up to housing and admissions in multiple engagements over many years. Augmented reality is now a core part of St. Louis University's process. Next slide, please. We've also had the pleasure to do business with Microsoft. More recently, this is an opportunity that we came across. And again, I can't unfortunately go too deep into the details with this one, but what I can share is that we're assisting in health and safety training at a Microsoft data center. Microsoft was previously using long, somewhat mundane presentations to educate their employees. They wanted to find a way to involve participants more without having to rewrite the existing presentation materials over time. When we at Bundle AR were able to supply simple augmentation of image slides with extra information, videos, interactive 3D elements, and more, as you can see in the photos here. Microsoft found that by using augmented reality to train their employees, they were able to increase engagement and received positive feedback from their employees. Next slide, please. After this initial training project, Microsoft's team, a different Microsoft team, Microsoft being comprised of many different teams, a different Microsoft team took note of the internal success and wanted to use that same technology in product, packaging, and support. Their augmentation allowed them to reduce setup time, increase the quality of device support, and decrease the amount of overall support events. That same Microsoft team presented our technology at the Training magazine this year, 2021, and they were showcasing Bundle AR as an AR training pioneer. Next slide, please. Again, with the data, can't go too much into the statistics, but with these recent client examples, what you see here on the slide is aligned with the results we've produced through our client work at Bundle AR. AR training provides 32% increase in productivity on average. That's real dollars to the bottom line of any company. Can reduce training costs by 70%. There's also an increase of attention. Why? Because most people are immersed and engaged in what they're learning. They're not just reading mundane instructions. Next slide, please. All right, so Earlier, I gave you an example of a very complex augmented reality use case, radiation detection. Now, I'd like to take you to the opposite end of the spectrum of AR training. To do this, I'll invite you into my kitchen to make a cup of coffee. You'd think that this would be an easy task with an espresso machine. However, as some of you may know, there are many different variations of espresso which can be made. Concoctions that I do not know how to brew, nor the names of these concoctions. So, we're going to try and solve this problem. Next slide, please. In the top right corner, you can see a photo of the top of my espresso maker. This really pushes my buttons, both literally and figuratively. This, unfortunately, is a great example of a terrible user interface. Why? Because there are 6 buttons here used to make multiple combinations of coffee. There are no words or extra context about what I'm about to create by pressing these buttons. They're just icons with layers of liquids, and that does not translate to all the fancy names for espresso. So, what happened next? Well, the other day, my colleagues and I conducted a design sprint to see how we can fix this problem. And here's what we came up with. First, we knew we needed to label the buttons. You can see the initial mock-up in the bottom left corner. Next, we created some images with text to be used as augmented reality buttons. Then, created some 3D models, cappuccino, Americano, and a latte. And finally, took these 3D models, images, and a little bit of magic on the Bundle AR platform to augment the machine for espresso training. In the bottom right corner, there's a screenshot of a portion of our website that allows you to press one button after you've built your augmented reality scene in 3D and allows you to deploy augmented reality to a mobile device. Push of a button. Next slide, please. And here's what we came up with. Photos don't do it justice, so now I will ask Matt to play the YouTube video, and you're going to see what we were able to come up with from start to finish in 2.5 hours of conceptualization to implementation. Here's my espresso machine, terrible design, and now you can see what we've augmented on top of it, along with some 3D models of Americano, espresso, and latte, so that you can know what you're about to brew before you press those buttons. And here comes my cappuccino. Awesome. So with that, why I wanted to share this example with you is because you need to be able to see the entire spectrum of use cases for augmented reality training purposes, both the most complex and the most simple, like making a cup of coffee. Now you can see there's a wide range from the most complex to the most simple use cases, and all of these things are why you should check out the Bundle AR platform, shameless plug, to see what you can make and augment on our platform. With that, next slide, please. I am going to be around afterwards. I'd love it if anyone has any questions or would like to learn more about how you too can create your own augmented reality. I can give anyone a demo if they'd like to check it out. Thank you all for your time.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lewis. And yeah, pretty great. So we've already gotten to see what was really with Nimbus, I believe, sort of a VR example of how immersive technology can be used in training, and obviously more on the AR side with Bundle AR. And next, what's great is we have someone that's really, I feel like, utilizing these technologies, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but not so much as a developer, but more in their programs towards training. The next presenter is going to be Christine Hobby. She's the Chief Service Provider for Service Alliances, who has recently, for obvious reasons, had to transform almost all of their in-person training to online and immersive VR and other XR modalities. And they're a perfect example of a company that has quickly adapted towards adopting everything, based on the current environment in our current world. So really exciting to hear what she has to say. Christine.
Got to turn my mic on. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you, Chris, Matt, and Tom for hosting me here. What an esteemed group I'm speaking with. I feel like a neophyte in this company, but that I'm with today. But I am fairly new to virtual reality. I have been in the training and instructional design business for about 20 years. And when COVID hit, I was immediately thrown in a different direction because all of my courses and the courses that we had done for the last 20 years were in person. We did a lot of in-person coaching and organizational development, and worked mainly in the business and general aviation industry and aerospace. And it's very distinct from airlines. It's more of the corporate jets and the private jets and the aircraft manufacturers. But we would do a lot of the topics of soft skills, like leadership, communications, teamwork, that type of training. And when COVID hit, I suddenly had no more in-person work because nobody could or wanted to do that. So I did kind of a 180, and I got involved in. I had been looking at virtual reality a couple of years previously because I had done a curriculum for active shooter preparation. It's called ACT, Active Civilian Training, and had created that for a security customer. They had some clients at concert venues, offices, places of faith, just different places that needed security, where they needed training in order to be prepared in the case of a traumatic event happening or an active shooter event. And as you all are probably all too aware of, over the past few years, there have been a lot of those events happening. So we built a curriculum based on case studies and best practices. And the modules were basically what happens to your mind and your body when you're placed in a traumatic situation. Even just standing up here speaking on stage, you feel like it's a lot different than just being in a normal situation where your mind is thinking clearly. Your heart rate is increased. You're just not doing things that you would normally do. So a big part of the program was just understanding what it would be like to be in that type of situation. And I always struggled with, okay, how do I really put people in that situation? Because I can't, so I had looked at virtual reality to do that because a lot of the other training companies that were training on active shooter, number one, they worked with military and first responders more so than what our client base was going to be, just regular office workers or security guards, and they had tried to use experiences like using airsoft guns, with teachers, and it was very traumatic even in that type of situation. So I thought, wow, what a great case study for virtual reality. So when COVID hit, I thought, okay, now's the time. I've just got to dive right in. And I got involved in an XR boot camp out of Munich, Germany. And I have no previous gaming experience, no coding experience, but I was put into the 6-week program and partnered with a developer, a Unity developer. And I think one of the challenges that they were trying to overcome with this boot camp was having people like me that have, I'm on the ground with clients that have, I understand some of their challenges because I was in organizational development and would work with them on things that they struggled with in their organizations. And so I have a lot of knowledge and background in this, but it's difficult sometimes for the developers who are they're working on the IT, and how do you bring together the people that have the knowledge of where this could be used, along with the people that are the developers. So I thought it was just very ingenious. And we came up with this active shooter training program. I had an exceptional developer. He had worked on the Titanic VR. He had a lot of skills. Very, very, very good with the Unity, and we developed this program. And I just really was overcome with all the opportunities in virtual reality. I'm starting to explore augmented reality as well, but since that time we're still in the early stages. But we're bringing out our virtual reality for active shooter. We're also planning on going with the aviation industry. There are a lot of opportunities. They will hire minimum wage kids, mostly, young teenagers, early 20s, that they're the line service techs. They're the guys that fuel these aircraft. They're the guys that tow these aircraft. They're the ones that move the aircraft in and out of the hangars. And it's very, very expensive. Say, for instance, when you would have one of these line techs, they're wing walking and they don't follow protocol, and that $500,000, $1 million aircraft gets nipped as it's coming out of the hangar. That's a very expensive, training. So virtual reality has there's a lot of opportunity for that in the business and general aviation industry, as far as fueling aircraft, towing aircraft, moving the aircraft. So we're exploring that. We also, by the end of second quarter of this year, we will have virtual reality training for plant and hangar risk prevention, fall protection, safety officer at heights, CPR, stop the bleed. The CPR and stop the bleed are included in our active shooter program as well. Overhead crane, personal protective equipment, hangar safety, lockout, tagout, electrical hazards, and fire safety. So I'm just really excited about the opportunities that are coming up in the future. So I did bring a video of the active shooter, just a little clip of the video. And if you could just roll that now, Chris or Matt.
It's late Friday and you are still at the office. One last copy to make. Pick up the document from the desk.
Now I'm not hearing the sound, so it kind of takes away from it because you're not going to be able to hear the gun firing, but you can see it online and listen to it later.
I can hear it. FYI.
Place your page on document glass.
Good. For some reason I don't.
Hide now.
Okay, so it's not quite as emotionally packed watching it on video, but when you're in that virtual reality and you hear those shots and you hear him banging on the glass of the office next to you, and then you see his shadow and you're there under the desk, it really gets your heart rate going, and it's pretty exciting. I do have to say so myself. So there are like 5 different things that you have to do in order to survive the active shooter, and I haven't seen anybody yet that's been able to do it on the first time. So you see there in the video that the person was able to get down behind the desk, and they turned off the light, they turned off the visual on the computer, but then mom comes up on the phone calling as the active shooter's walking by. So it's meant to, I like the environment of, it's not so real, but it still does bring out that emotional, putting someone in that situation, which is really what I wanted to do with this program. So that's all. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. All right. I really love also that you mentioned that, they're using it also not only just to train on what we would sort of assume, obviously, very technical training, that AR and VR would be great for that, but that soft skills were also mentioned, and that immersive technology can also be used in that sort of scenario also, which is really cool. Great. And our final speaker, rounding out what tonight has actually been a pretty good international panel, actually, also. We have Carlos Ochoa, who is the founder and CEO of One Digital Consulting. I love this, that really they kind of mirror our sort of next evolution mindset, because they're really working to enable this next generation of students, employees, and citizens in general to develop the skills and reimagine everything as we sort of embrace all these new emerging technologies. So Carlos, take it away.
So hello, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure, and I really appreciate to stay here. Thank you for your kind invitation. It's 2:00 in the morning in Madrid. I'm here with my coffee, and I hope that we will spend a great time. Well, thank you very much for all the contributors, and it was very interesting. And what I did is I changed the complete presentation, so it's a pity that I already sent by the PDF. But anyway, well, first of all, I would like to introduce the company with a video, and then I will ask you some questions about your perceptions, what your ideas about the future of training. Please, can you put the videos? The video is frozen in the screen. I don't know if you can see it well. No, it's frozen.
Carlos, I'm seeing it just fine. It's moving.
Okay. Well, this is only a few words about that. This is the project, we call it Investing Light. This was developed in collaboration with HP. We are using the new headset HP VRAR V2, and it's an experience to train the students, people in the vocational training area in a technical plan with different activities, actions. We use the methodology of action-based learning and action-based training. So we develop simulators. Inside the simulators, we create different scenarios and situations where you can manipulate everything around that. The next version will be completely integrated in Microsoft reality with Microsoft Toolkit, in the way that you can interact with all the Microsoft tools. Okay, but okay, I think if you want to see or to know more about the company, I'm here. Just I can talk about that. But I think it's the most important issue for me today is to share the experience and knowledge about what is the topic of this presentation. Is about the next evolution, and we are thinking, I think that we are talking about the future of training in this new society. Please, next slide. I will say only next, otherwise will be well. I came from, I love to say that. I came from Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was my passion, and I always had a dream that I always dreamed to have a studio, VR studio like Lucasfilm. I was working with silicon graphics machines for many years, and now you can see that in a laptop or in a small computer, you can do whatever you want. But the question is not about the technology. I will ask you three main questions, and we can discuss at the end of the presentation. And these are the questions that I used to make myself when I'm in front of a customer. First, in my proposal, what is the value for money of my proposal? What is the benefit for the stakeholders? And what is the level of innovation for the company? Where are going to have this revenue? This is something very important. I started to work with, well, I'm an engineer, and then I started to work with geographical information systems almost 30 years ago. And one of my passions were how to integrate the real world with real data, with real images, with a map, with photogrammetry, and satellite images in the way that you can manage the real world with those tools. So today for me is just very, very similar approach. Let's talk about advanced realities, immersive realities, whatever you want, okay? But what I can see is that we are always talking about the same, about Unity, we are Unity slaves or Unreal slaves, and we are talking about always graphics, and we forgot about the real world. And this is really the issue, how to integrate physics, graphics with metadata, and the evolution of this, you can see in the graphics, in the 3D environment, and how to interact in real time. And believe me, neither Unity and Unreal are the platforms that can support this in real time. Maybe for a small project, for a prototype, but not for big projects. Okay, next slide, please. Next one, please. Yes. Well, I'm going to talk about what are the new mega trends. So the new scenario after COVID. Well, after COVID, we are still with COVID for sure, and we will live with COVID for many years, I'm pretty sure. But the mega trends are changing very fast because we have been locked down for 1 year, and we have a dramatic situation of employment, of development, people without any job, the startups are fighting like crazy. So, and the industry has to change a lot. And we don't know in which direction, because this is a new, completely new scenario. This is a new environment, and we don't know how it will work. So we need to simulate future scenarios and to see how we can have the perception of that. And we can, let's say, we can reimagine a new road to success. But there are things that have to change very, very fast. Next slide, please. And this is something that we need to put into the table. So one thing which is very important is that the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, it's imagination. And we have to think about that. We think about that. Please, next slide. Okay, the present situation. Next slide, please. So the post-COVID generation, next slide, please, is like that. So it's common that you are sitting there, but you are not there. You are at home. You are with your pajama. You are working. You are close to your office. Some colleagues in France, some colleagues in China. I'm in Madrid. But well, my family is at home. Sorry, are sleeping right now. But it's normal that somebody, if you are working in your chair, that your kids or grandkids are moving around your place. So this is something that is changing very fast. And today, this is a completely new scenario. And we need to understand how to manage that, because the time, the perception, the sense, the development of the different infrastructures are changing very rapidly. So we cannot focus or face the world as we did it before. Next slide, please. Okay, talking about mega trends, please, next slide. If we want to talk about the future of training, we need to understand how is the new ecosystem, the new society working, development, will develop there are different activities. And I used to have different consultancies companies, studies and strategy, for instance, talking about Gartner, that made a very, very interesting analysis about the future of the technology. They changed a lot of concepts between the last year and this year because the COVID impact. And they are focused in different specific areas like people. Sorry, I cannot see the screen. Just this quest. Sorry, I have my screen here that is going a little bit slower. Okay, people centricity, location independence, and resilient delivery. That means, next slide, please, that now the new ecosystem, the new technological ecosystem is very close to the human perception. And now we have a different matrix that we have 1 or 2 years ago. And we have to understand how this will be, how will the evolution will be, and how we can provide value to this evolution. Okay, we have to create this homogeneous environment. Next slide, please. Okay, if we think about immersive technology, we can see the impact of these technologies in a different areas like artificial intelligence, transparency, hyperautomation, autonomous things, human augmentation, multi-experience, but we cannot see an isolated augmented reality or virtual reality technology. This is part of a global concept. It's a part of a convergent technology ecosystem where the visualization or the simulation environment will provide some different aspects, as we can see here in this example. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, what are the industry 4 challenges? Well, there is a new let's say, thing or a new topic that impact very, very rapidly in this new environment, and is acceleration. So the 5 key points or key success factors in this new scenario are investment, for sure, workforce and skills development. There will be, or there are right now, new skills that have to be developed in a more open environment. The convergence of innovation. We are not talking about disruptive innovation. We need to talk about convergence innovation in the way that there are different races at the same time. Robotics, machine learning. Where is the place for VR extended reality? Because we are making many things that today robots can do it faster and better than any kind of simulator that we can develop. Standardization and the key process, acceleration. Everything has to be accelerated for this new environment. Okay, please, next slide. Okay, future scenarios. Yes, next slide, please. We can see the potential of XR in the industry, but those figures came from different studies and consultants like Forrester and Gartner Group. This is not something that is a perception about the benefits of XR or the benefits of training. It's real data, because, for instance, when we take the real data of the impact of 3D simulation in the industry, we can see that impact is not more than 20%. So how we can say that the impact of XR in training could be a benefit of 30% when the real impact of the use of real data in real time is lower, okay? So it's very, very important to understand the ecosystem, how it works, and how we can provide value and where we can put our focus. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a study from Forrester together with Unity. And you can see in this study that only 20% of the companies are using 3D tools in real time. So that means 3D tools means CAD systems that they can visualize in 3D models. But it's not VR. So only a part of this 20% are using VR. Okay, and this is all around the world. So we can. It's very important to understand the situation of the present situation in the ecosystem to see how we are going to innovate and how we can provide value, or we are going to repeat the same mistakes that we make it in the previous stages. Next slide, please. Oops, I'm rushing. Well, you can see in this picture what we can see, a digital reality ecosystem where different technologies can convert, and we need to integrate it just to provide some kind of solutions. But we need to understand how to integrate this information, these technologies with real data coming from the real world. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, the road to success. Okay, there are many things that we need to understand. And when we talk about VR, AR training, this is really a topic, this is really an issue. How we are going to train the trainers, and in which topic they need to be experts in Unity, they need to be expert in Oculus Rift, they need to know what kind of problems they have, and they need to tell us the situation in the way that we can provide the solution together with this expertise, okay? So we need to balance the different mega trends together with the skills and the soft skills. And in that way, we will have the opportunity to provide real value to the community. One of the most amazing, incredible barriers, entry barriers in of this technology in the companies is the lack of knowledge of the value of the technology and how to use the technology in the right way. This is one of the biggest barriers that we analyzed during our studies in different countries. Next slide, please. Okay, you can see here a model of a complex project, how it works. Okay, we have the real data, we have the real world, we have to integrate it with real data, we have to integrate it and monitor with real data coming from different computers, and we have to take the data from the design using different programs. We have to build the complete ecosystem, and we have to operate. So we need a lot of different skills and different profiles just to develop a complete solution that has to work and to resolve problems in real time. Okay, please, next slide. And I will rush just for 1 minute. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, to do that, we need to develop a talent innovation ecosystem, which is very, very important. Today, every single student that wants to work in VR or AR is studying Unity as crazy. And when you talk about, for instance, a petrochemical plant, or you want to talk about some industry topics or objects, they don't understand a word, you know, and because they only understand how to program, how to create code, and how to make amazing graphics. But where is the value of the graphic if we cannot resolve real life problems? Okay, please, next slide. And next one. Yes. Well, this is the last one. Well, I have one with the ecosystem, the future ecosystem training, but it's not in the original. Okay. Well, now I'm going to finish. We have to understand how the different technologies are moving in this, let's say, industry ecosystem, and they are moving at the same time with different velocities. For instance, we are just starting a new era, when XR meets robotics and artificial intelligence. I saw a lot of simulators developed by amazing companies that has no sense, and they cannot provide any value for the market, because all these tasks were developed and they are done by robots together with another kind of technologies. And this is very, very important to have a broad scope and open mind to understand how is the evolution if we want to think about the future of training and the future of industry. Next slide, please. I think is the last one. Well, we have been we have been working with different states. We have been helping the Canada government, the India government, Emirates, the Ministry of the Education, and we are in collaboration with a lot of universities, tutoring students, and we are partnering with some companies around Europe. And specifically, we developed a teachers training program for the European Commission, just to help the teachers all around the vocational training scenario to understand the technology and to provide solutions for the vocational training centers. And last, because I think is the last one, sorry. Well, yes, I would like to end my presentation with this. I'm old rock and roll star, and Albert Einstein is my leader. And as he said a long time ago, the world as we have created is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. That's all. So thank you very much. And thank you for your patience. It was rushing. I have a lot of things to share. So feel free to ask me if you feel tired. Okay, it was really a pleasure. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Carlos. That was great. And actually, Carlos, you can stay up here. I'm going to actually bring Matt Wren up. He is going to run the Q&A because he has a direct link to the Facebook comments and everything that's been going on there. And I'll ask all the rest of our panelists if they want to join Matt up here at the center of the stage. And I'm going to step out of the way and let Matt run a little Q&A. So if everyone out there has questions, remember you have that raise hand tool at the bottom of your screen. So go ahead and raise your hand. Matt will ask you to unmute, and then you can ask your questions. Thanks.
Yeah, so thank you everybody once again, especially the presenters. It is very, very, very hard to get a ton of information that they want to communicate to you guys down to very, very, very short presentations. But again, we want to make sure that this event stays about you, the audience, and answering your questions more so than it is about people, speaking and presenting a lot of information. So Carlos, if you don't mind, please come on back up and join us up here, as well as Lewis and Lauren. You're already here. Cool. And if you guys can all just kind of, crowd around me a little bit, we'll see who has the first question. The one thing I will ask again, please keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. I will call on you. At that point, unmute. We'll make sure you can talk and that the room can hear you. And then you can ask your question. Once you're done asking your question, please mute and let the presenters answer. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, just type your questions into chat. And as I kind of try to call questions out as they come in the order that they come in. So I will be watching the Facebook chat and we will be reading those questions into the room to be answered. So let's see who's got the first one. Who's going to be the brave one that raises their hand first? It's a virtual environment, people. We can't be shy. All right. Well, if no one else is going to ask, I'm going to get going really quickly, and I'll throw this actually across the board to all four of our presenters because we do have a pretty wide. Oh, you know what? Actually, hang on a second. I need to sort my list by raised hands. There we go. Sight. Go ahead.
Thanks, Matt. Question for Lauren. First of all, I was very intrigued that you are applying immersive training to manual skills labor. Could you say more about how you're doing that? I'm trying to envision learning how to dig a ditch in virtual reality, and I'm sure that's not exactly what you're talking about. Just a little more. I'm very curious. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, thanks for your question. Well, you're right. We are not really training the whole bunch of skills for manual workers. It's always a tricky job because you need to talk with people that are experts, understand the job, understand the competencies that are combined in that job, and try to see how and where XR experience can be beneficial. So I give you an example. If you're talking about welder is probably one of the most demanded job on the world today in terms of workers. We will not create a full welding realistic situation and claims that it will replace real welding. We will focus, for instance, on one of the key, that is the precision of your hands in terms of motion, steadiness, concentration, and we'll practice that into a different approach into VR to make you learn as fast as possible this part of the job, and combining that with real practicing, it will speed up your understanding.
All right. See who's gonna be the. So we have one question from Facebook, which I'll throw to Lewis. Although I could answer it myself, but Lewis, very simple question: does Bundle AR offer web AR services?
Is that a simple question? Right now, we do not. More on that in the near future. Hint, hint. However, what we do offer is a web platform that allows you to build augmented reality for mobile devices. So, to answer your question specifically, no, we do not offer web AR yet. Hint, hint.
We would love to say more about that, but unfortunately we cannot say it right now. Chris apparently has a question.
Yeah, real quickly, I guess this would probably be mainly for Christine, but obviously anyone's willing to comment, especially when it's coming to like teaching sort of the soft skills that you mentioned with immersive technology. I'm just sort of curious exactly, everything that I do tends to be much more on the sort of in your face technical side, obviously, right? Like, so you know what you're asking for. So I'm curious how the soft skills tend to work in immersive tech.
Yeah, soft skills. I'm still kind of exploring it, but some of the things that we have been able to do is working on some of the platforms where we can actually be meeting in like this platform, and doing one-on-one coaching or meetings where we're talking people through things. So, for instance, you could be in virtual reality as someone who has, say, for instance, in aviation, you have customer service people that have to deal with customers that, they might be coming in on their private aircraft and they have very high expectations. And, the catering was cold, the coffee was cold. They're coming in off the aircraft and they're just raging at this customer service rep. And a lot of times, how do you deal with that situation if you've never really had someone, in your face and yelling at you, screaming at you, and just putting people in those type of situations that you can do safely in virtual reality, as well as, maybe someone practicing to speak in front of a large audience. You've got avatars that are sitting in front of you and you're able to speak, and it's good, practice that type of soft skill training.
Got it.
Chris,
thank you.
If I can jump in on that.
Yeah,
let me jump in on that really quick, because if you actually look at some of the really widespread training that was delivered initially, one of the bigger use cases that a lot of people know about or have heard about is Stryver did the Walmart training during essentially the Black Friday rush to get, they had, it was very simple. It was 360 video, but it was delivered via VR on Oculus Go. And it was teaching kind of the sales reps, the low-level sales reps who are going to be on the floor in Walmarts, hey, this is what it's going to look like when you are getting rushed by a crowd. Which, if you think about that, you can't really, even using actors, like you can't simulate that environment. The only way to really teach people that is in something like virtual reality. And the fact that they just use 360 video to deliver that, it's totally soft skill, and it's something that's, really, really hard to train in any other way without any other technology. One of the other ones that I've talked about a bunch of times, which actually relates back to another 1871 company, they did, again, Oculus Go 360 video training on harassment, and the experience was literally that they trained you on was you being harassed. Like they did a 360 video recording of kind of you being harassed, and you would wear this, you would wear a headset, an Oculus Go, and you would watch this video. And as I've said, I'm repeating myself. I know I've talked about this at previous events, but I'm a 6 foot tall male who's not exactly small. It's really hard for me to understand like the actual experience of someone kind of like walking up to you and towering over you and harassing you and just, saying things that are inappropriate in a way that you get that, you just get that internal cringe. Like I feel so massively uncomfortable. But then when you actually experience it in 360 video, it makes sense. You get it. So that's, it's one of the great ways that soft skills are really easy to translate. And there's hundreds of others. I just, I don't want to monopolize time here.
Yeah, it's a great way to build empathy, put someone in some other form and see how, the world reacts to them. It's a great way to build empathy.
I don't see any other hands. I don't see any other hands going up really quick. So I'll throw one out, and it gets a little bit to what Carlos was saying. And I know, Laurent and Lewis are going to have definitely clear answers on this. And Christine, you might be able to chime in as well. What are you seeing as like, the barriers when people want to adopt this technology? When a company says, okay, I can see, I'm seeing the stats, there's benefits to immersive technology training, but I don't know where to start. And I'm just going to go from like right to left and I'll call you guys out. So Carlos, I'll let you go first. You're muted, Carlos.
Yeah, sorry. Well, this is the question. One of the things, from my humble opinion, is that there are too many futurists talking about VR, and sometimes the perception from the industry is that this is like a mini game or a video game, and they cannot see the benefits. One thing, this study from Forrester is really interesting when you see that not all the companies, we are talking about companies in the industry, architecture, and construction, not all are working with real-time data in 3D. That means that if you don't have this data, you cannot convert the data to VR, XR, or whatever. So this is one of the things that I think is one of the most barrier, just to convince or to train or to give the message of what is the value and the benefit for that. Because I can tell you an example, a real example. Train the people of HP in big 3D prints. It costs around $3 million a year, okay? Because they have to move from all the places around the world to Barcelona and another place. They have only 2 machines for training. Now they invested $1 million in one simulator to train the people all around the world in this. So the cost reduction is about 2 million, okay? This is a real issue. So, and this is something that you can evaluate very, very fast. So there is really a benefit, and they can do that. And I am sure that you can replicate this model in other industries.
Okay, so mostly an ROI conversation. Christine,
I would just echo that, Carlos. Just I've noticed that you really have to find what the business problem is, the problem that the customer needs solved. And I think I'm kind of saying the same thing he said, but that it's not just a novelty. We got this cool way of delivering the training, but it's not really exactly what's needed. You need to really make sure you're addressing a business problem. And then one of the other challenges that I have had recently is just getting people into headsets and training them on how to use it. It's kind of been a challenge because a lot of people have never really been in VR. So that's just something I've noticed recently.
Cool. Lewis?
Absolutely. So I think the same barriers to entry for virtual reality apply to augmented reality. Let's face it, difficult, and costly for organizations to implement. You need developers who right now are in high demand in this era of COVID, especially ones that can connect you and immerse you with virtual and augmented reality technologies. And that cost, I conveniently actually have a couple of numbers here. Prototypes, companies, augmented reality companies charge on average around $45,000 for a prototype, $85,000 for a simple app, upwards minimum of $250,000 for complex apps, to over $1 million. There was an app this year that a small in-house or a small augmented reality development team charged $2 million for an augmented reality video game that also included some training aspects. So to answer that question in a way of what's the barriers, those are the barriers. It's difficult and costly. You need these developers. So shameless plug, you can sign up for a free trial and start making augmented reality today on bundlear.com.
Okay, Wren.
On my side, I think one thing that is often forgotten in the question is the human factor. In a way that we are developing solution often driven by innovators in the company or in the organization, but often the human factor is when I'm talking about human factor, I'm talking about the users at the end. So that can be the trainer, that can be the instructor in the company, whatever. But as Christian mentioned, they are not confident with that technology. They're afraid of that technology most of the time. The technology is not yet user friendly, whatever we can say. So the barrier and how should we start when we want to integrate VR into training is to make sure that we have the human, the people onboarded in the project from the beginning, and make sure that we're providing a user-friendly and integrated solution for them.
Excellent.
May I could add something, Matthew?
Sure.
Yes. Well, one thing that I think that really a differentiation factor of XR between against other technologies is the 5 senses experiences concept. Okay. And I just asked myself, and I wonder how many of you are working with 5 senses applications at that level of percents. I can see many people working with standalone devices, just watching videos. So it's the same that you were watching YouTube, but only you can move around yourself. But the sound is not immersive. That means that your brain is not going to be engaged by the immersive environment. And the other thing is interaction. So you cannot manipulate, you cannot interact in many applications with the environment and the other senses. So this is really a key issue. So when you are going to develop, let's say, a 5 senses application, or 3 senses or 4 senses, okay? You need to understand really how it works in the way that the one who is going to use this application is going to interact with that. So the first impression really matters. And how many of you have been working with cardboard or in the school or in training centers or whatever with a mobile and just watching videos, and you say the second experience, okay, I know it's blah blah, I cannot see the value of that, you know. This is something that not too many people know how to work with that.
Gotcha. On that, actually, because that speaks a little bit to the next question, which is coming from Francis on Facebook, which is, just speaking to how the different technologies are converging, kind of the things that you had started to talk about at the end of your speech, Carlos, with, VR and AI starting to integrate. I guess, the question he has is how you can start doing it, and, if you have any examples. But also, the question that I would have is, okay, well, let's talk about the value of that. So, one of the things when you start talking about the multiple senses, with VR, you're nowadays pretty much talking about sight and sound being immersive and being spatial. A little bit on haptics. It's not really totally there yet on haptics, but it's getting there. We're starting to see, things like smell generators. Obviously, I haven't seen anything along the lines of taste yet. But and just your thoughts on the convergence of the technologies and how that can get started and how that can get moved forward quickly. Throwing that one to you first, Carlos, because you spoke about it in your presentation.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I don't want to talk too much, because I just drink my coffee and I'm really excited about the coffee and the time. But anyway, well, I can see a lot of opportunities, and the most amazing opportunity is machine learning, blockchain, and artificial intelligence in the way that you can interact with the environment, and the device can take information from your side, and you can improve the way that you can interact with the environment again. So this is some kind of retrofeedback permanent. But in that way, there is also another, let's say, complex situation about ethics. I don't know if you have heard about Internet of Behaviors. That is something that is happening right now. And in the way that I will not talk about the name of any brand, but in the way that the headset can get information direct from you, and they can store in the cloud, for instance, in the way that you choose, in the way that you move the eyes, in the way that you select the colors, in the way that you interact with the people, everything coming from your brain can go direct to the cloud, and this can be manipulated by somebody, okay? So Internet of Behaviors is one of the topics that is rising right now. And if you use it in the right way, this will be really amazing, because you can improve your skills in a very rapid and fast way. So this is the way that I can see the convergence and how to interact and simulate scenarios with robots.
Okay. Tom, you got a question?
Yeah. So just to piggyback off of a comment that Lewis made about a company selling an app that was a game but had training in it. How many companies? So, like, Matt, you were also talking about Walmart or whatever doing the 360 training, 360 video training for understanding what being rushed feels like for employees. And then for Lewis, that app that was sold that's a game but has training in it. How often are companies trying to gamify what they're doing to make it be more quote unquote kind of consumable or making employees interested versus like, well, you're an employee, you're hired to come in and plug in and like learn this stuff, which can be still challenging to have the learner want to receive the information, whereas like gamification could possibly make the receiver of that information want to engage it more. I'm just curious if you all have experienced any of that.
I'm going to let that one go down the line, actually, because I can speak a lot to that one, especially, with some experiences that I've just had today, even. But I'm going to kind of go reverse order here and throw that one to Laurent first, because I know you're doing a lot of training on like physical, basically physical activity training. So is it being gamified?
So you're talking about gamification into training, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, that's a key anyway. Yeah, it has to be. I mean, our team is based on, well, the ground of our team is game design. So we are using level design, progression as we're progressing in a game, and well, it's something that is infused into the content all the time, because you need to speak in a way that it attracts the people, not only the new generation, but it has to be simple enough to attract people at the beginning, and it has to become more and more complicated, so to drive you to the professional skill, but in a smooth way, not to discourage you. So it's exactly as in a game. You need to motivate the player, so the student, to move until the end and reach 100% discovery of the environment. But difference is that you when you reach this 100%, you're supposed to achieve a certain professional skill. So gamification is kind of mandatory in this training environment.
Cool. Lewis?
Sure. A lot of thoughts on gamification in training specifically. There's two different ways that you can approach this gamification. First is actually making the technology that you're using fun. Gamifying it, not in the sense of you traditionally thinking, okay, return to this application multiple times a day, track the number of times. Not that type of gamification necessarily, but actually making it fun. What can make things fun? Try and train and learn together. A lot of times that's collaboration tools, and being able to create ways to entertain each other, but also get work done together through the immersive technologies. So gaming and training specifically, make sure it's fun, make sure it doesn't have to be to the point overly fun, but just make sure that there is a side to it that delights the user and makes them enjoy learning about what they're learning about at that time. I think I always am thinking about that Microsoft presentation where the employees came back saying, after years of having to listen to these PowerPoints, having a fun and personal side to these presentations was the most critical part of their training. So, cool. We've covered gamification of making things fun. Now, with the completion of tasks, it's rewarding to the user if you can track the number of things that you're accomplishing, trying to get to the goal of what you're wanting to train. With gamification in the way of numbers, that can be useful for not only the user, but also the administrator in a training scenario. So you can gamify completion of training and return that information to the administrator to let them know, hey, I've finished learning what I need to learn. Now I can go operate this machinery. So gamification is a very important part of my daily job, making sure that software is fun, but also repeatable and returnable. Lots of positive things on that front.
Christine?
I'll leave it with that.
Well, I think we've all had experiences with training, like a compliance training course we have to take every year on HIPAA or cybersecurity or diversity. And, I know a lot of people that will just go through the training and or they won't go through it, but they know from the quiz, that they can pass it. So they just go check off the boxes, And as an instructional designer, I've always I feel like realize the importance of having something be engaging, which I guess is another word for being fun, but something that really catches your attention, and ways of making even maybe competition. When you're training a group from an organization where they can compete against each other or they can gain points for what they're doing. I think it's very important in training and getting that engagement from your learners.
Carlos, you want to add to this?
Well, yes. Sorry about that. I know it's not politically correct what I'm going to say. I think that we need to jump to the future. We are always talking about very old things that we have been doing for a while, for many years, and we know the results, how it's doing and how it's moving. If we see, we can watch what the kids are doing at home or at school, what the students are doing in the universities, how the new companies need to disrupt and need to compete in a very aggressive environment. And we want to replicate the things that they are doing with this technology to make it in, let's say, with a new, well, not really a new, sorry, in this environment, okay? So if we want to change the things and we want to accelerate, we need to transform the things that we are doing. One of the advantages of extended reality is the opportunity to discover. So the thing is, why I need to create a program with a game or give me whatever you want, that is to replicate the things that you are doing day by day. This is process oriented. So you are not going to take any advantage of the technology because you are not going to experiment. For instance, where are the value when you are going to develop a train for, let's say, in a manufacturer or in a fabric or in a new environment? When you are going to train the people to do the things different, or you have the opportunity to give them the opportunity to move around the place and to create new procedures, to develop new ideas, to change the rules. So if we replicate what they are doing, it's not the question, the gamification, engage. The people is overexcited, the people is overengaged. So we don't need to be engaged, you know? We need to make the things different and to democratize the knowledge and the expertise to make a more sustainable world. Because why the companies need to replicate the system? Many times when I saw many people talking about VR in training or in education, they said, we are changing everything because the normal education system. This is not true. The teachers are really bored about this message because they are using LMS, they are using PCs, they are using tablets. They know the methodology, they know the processes. They are waiting for something new. They are not looking for a new device. We don't need to change the devices. We need to change the rules to accelerate the process and to improve the quality of our service and our skills. Otherwise, we are changing pinups, you know? In the past, there were blockboards, now tablets, now computers, and now VR devices. Where is the value of that? Where is the benefit of that? We talk about immersion, but it's not truth. To have a 360 video or an image inside your device is not immersion. The immersion is the perception that you are in. And this is something very cool, but it's very difficult to develop, believe me. And this is the value of this, you know? For instance, where are the niches? You have been talking before about Weldon, for instance. I know a company, it's a Spanish company that is working worldwide. They have an amazing application, the best application I never saw in my life for Weldon, okay? So they replicate a hardware system in an augmented reality system, and they can validate all the process and all the procedure in real time. And you can see in the screen all the results. So you can qualify the people. You know the benefit of that without risk, improving the quality, very cheap, impressive.
All right. And I'm going to wrap up just because I know we've gone a little bit long today with limitations in the conversation, and I definitely want to get back to the networking because there is a lot of value there. So let me first start by thanking our panelists, from around the world, quite literally, who have, I know like Carlos is probably 3 a.m. by you right now. So thank you, everybody. Again, a reminder to all our audience members and those of us watching on Facebook and those watching the live stream at the end. Everybody's contact information is available on our website on VRARchicago.com. If you go to the event listing for this event, you can get in touch with anybody on the panel up here. The presentation will be posted as well in a couple of days. So if you missed anything and you want to refer back to the data that was in the slides, presentations will be posted. We hope that you guys can join us next month. Next month, VRAR Chicago is going to be tackling health, wellness, and fitness. So, For some of you who've been here before, we've talked to doctors and had surgical training and things like that in the past. We're approaching health a little bit more in the relation to the COVID world and the stress we're all experiencing, and we're going to be talking about things like elder care and people who are kind of shut-ins utilizing immersive technology to escape, health and wellness in terms of meditation applications and fitness applications that are being utilized. For those of us who've been stuck in our houses because of COVID for the last year, immersive technology does offer some services for that. But once again, I do want to say thank you to everybody. What I'm going to do right now so that we can get to networking is a couple of things. First, I'm going to make all those desks go away so you all get to stand up. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the private volumes again. So what will happen is you'll see the blue circles on the floor. If you are standing inside of one of those blue circles, you'll be able to talk to whoever's in the circle with you, and you won't hear anybody outside of your circle. So, again, people kind of wander around and talk conversation to conversation within the different circles. I'm hoping most of our presenters can stick around and talk. But once again, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, again, Bundle AR, 1871, and Virbela, as well as our partners. And we hope to see you again. Please like us, follow us, get on our newsletter so that you can keep up with what's going on. We do expect that there will be a bunch of news coming out in the very near future. And with that, I'm going to turn on the private volumes right now, and then I will turn on spatialized voice again as well. Thank you.